Hello and welcome to For What It's Earth podcast, with a sustainability, nature and climate action podcast that makes big green issues bite-sized and asks, is there anything that we can try and do to save the planet just a little bit? I'm Emma.
And I'm Sophie. A very warm welcome to this week's Listeners' Questions episode, the fortnightly For What It's Earth format, where we try to answer some of your burning queries and eco-anxieties and things that keep you up late at night about all things green living.
We do indeed. And today we've actually got a theme for the questions because we've also got some help answering them. I mean, we're both completely over the moon. We're on the farm with our friends at Yeo Valley Organic. We're actually in a glasshouse, which you may or may not be able to hear, surrounded by very luscious looking tomato
It's nice and
plants.
warm in here too.
Yeah. Because today we are going to be talking about green gardening and growing.
Yeah, and to help us with that, we have the one and only Sarah Mead. Hello, Sarah. Very warm welcome to For What It's Earth.
Thank you for having
Literally
me.
warm. We're in a very warm glass house.
Sarah is the head gardener of the organic garden at Yeo Valley Organic, and we are so excited to have her time this morning. Shall we just get straight into it?
Shall we?
We've got some questions that we'd love your answers on.
Cool, go for it. Let's do it.
Okay. So we had two people get in touch via Instagram, Noah and Josie. Both of them had questions about ants. I'm going to kind of
Love it.
merge their questions together. Essentially, they both want to know, how do we deal with ants that are in places we don't necessarily want them? So
Yeah, okay.
Josie's got an ant's nest in her compost heap, and Noah has a problem with ants. They work his soil so much that his sowings get pulled under. What should they do?
Ooh, it's tricky, isn't it? Okay, so there are things you can do, is the first thing to say. Ants, obviously, here comes the green bit, guys, bracing, incoming.
We're ready for it.
Ants, obviously, are part of the food chain and
Yeah.
are part of our ecosystem. So ants, per se, are no issue whatsoever, and they should be left alone to get on with their own devices as part of the food chain. However, I completely get it when they are turning up uninvited. So there are a couple of things you can do that won't harm the ants but will deter them. The first thing you can do, particularly in a compost, something like that, you can just water it lightly. I'm not advocating serious drowning of ants here. I'm advocating they don't like wet.
Oh,
They
so it's a
don't like
deterrent.
moisture. It is a sign your compost might be a bit too dry
Oh,
anyway.
There we go, Josie.
But if you've got ants in there, it's very likely if you give them a light sprinkling with the watering can to say, no, you're not welcome, they will find somewhere else. That would be the first thing. And obviously, ants are not harmed in the process. The other thing you can do is, ants are really deterred by strong smells, So if you can use all sorts of things, but peppermint works really well, lavender works really well.
Well, actually growing those plants
Well,
nearby,
no,
or?
make an infusion, so a bit of lavender water or a bit of, anything. I'm just trying to think. I did write a note about what else. So yeah, citrus, peppermint, really good. Make a tea,
Yeah.
and then use that to round where your ants are. So your
spray
friend
it,
with the seedlings
Yeah.
could just dot some little drops of the pure essence of any of those things, and it really they just don't like the smell, so they move to somewhere else. The seedlings thing is a bit of a bore, and so you're better trying to trace them back and then putting those drops where they're entering, wherever it is.
Okay.
But compost is easier because you can just do a kind of generic spritz.
That's crazy. And also it's going to smell good for us, because, peppermint smells lovely.
Yeah, it is good. You can, and actually, to be fair, I'm not sure you can get it in this country, but certainly there is a nematode you can get in order to predate on the ants, but I'm a bit reluctant to recommend that because I'd rather we left them well alone to get on with it, but albeit somewhere else.
So I guess, obviously, being an organic garden here at Yeo,
Yeah.
these are methods that you've tried and succeeded
Yeah.
with?
I have to say, I'm not being on the smugiometer, I'm not doing that, but the ants, the moment I say this, it'll happen next week. But we don't have an issue with ants at the moment. But the philosophy of organic gardening, like organic everything, is live and let live. Live and let live. Because we've been organic here for 15, 16 years now. And it doesn't happen overnight, that thing. People are, they start off all the right thing and then they're really distressed because the first year everything gets munched. That will happen.
Yeah.
And you have to just have the mindset that you stand back from stuff and just wait, because here I am all these years in, and we're now sort of self-predating. So because we haven't broken this food chain, there's birds, there's frogs, there's snake, there's all sorts of stuff out there. We still get black fly all over everything. We still get whitefly. It's not that they've disappeared. It's purely that we leave them well alone until something finds it, and they blooming well do find it. And then you've got natural pest control, and it's less work. What a
So
winner!
they're working for you. You've got a little underground
So much
army
better, and
yeah.
so much less work in the long term. You know,
But that patience has really paid off.
the patience. You do have to turn the other cheek. You have to go and have a cup of tea, glass of wine, in my case, and just think,
Maybe I'll do
I got to
that.
leave them. Yeah. But everything, dahlias, broad beans, all those things that attract aphids, they will still.
Yeah.
And you will think, oh God. But if you can resist the urge to squish them or squirt them with anything, we won't go there. Yeah, resist, live and let live, turn a blind eye, have a bit of patience, choose your battles a bit.
Yeah.
Fight another battle that day, and I guarantee when you come back, something will be doing the job for you.
And it's also a bit
answer.
about sort of patience of like, okay, well, I know this year's not going to be good for my broad beans or whatever. And maybe next year I'll have a good broad bean year, and we'll just sort of not sacrifice that, but just sort of know, okay, I haven't won that one this year. It's still good things happening for the ecosystem.
Yes, absolutely. And the wonderful thing about gardening is it's such a learning curve anyway.
Yeah.
And it's also super forgiving, I think.
Yeah.
You do every year. I mean, we've been at it a while, and every year we have successes and failures. And I can't tell you that they're getting any better or any worse. Every year it feels like something that we didn't see before happens. And we're all learning the whole time, and there's no right or wrong. There really isn't. You know, I think people take it all far too seriously in terms of their own guilt. Oh, what if I kill it? Or, oh.
Yeah, totally.
That's not what it's about. It's not
Very
what it's about.
wise. I think it would be really lovely for the listeners to just have a brief insight into your journey into gardening, because you didn't come from a gardening background, did you?
No, I didn't come from a gardening background.
So this has all been an experimentation, massive process of learning for you as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No, I had no intention of moving to Somerset and being a farmer's wife and getting into gardening. It wasn't my life plan at all. I pretty much lived and brought up in London. I went to stage school of all things, which actually has come in useful in my life, I think.
It's
looking
a very
back on
vibrant garden.
I didn't see that coming, but I think it has been really relevant. So I came down here when Tim and I married. I really wasn't thinking I would fall in love with a farmer at all. I wanted to be Liza Minnelli. That was my life ambition. So anyway, I gave that up for love, moved down here. And
She says, rolling her
that's
eyes.
it. Yeah, I know.
How tiresome.
Shucks.
Love.
Well, thank God
Kinda
for everybody
worked
else.
out.
That's what I say. Otherwise, can you imagine the horror? Anyway, so I came down here and was assimilated into this organic farming family, and that's how it started. I inherited my mother-in-law's garden. She was living in the village. She still, as she is today, was absolutely all over the cows, all over the breeding of the cows. So she's super involved. She's amazing. But for me, I was like, oh God, I don't know anything about gardening, and she's coming for lunch. What shall I do? That's how it started. And I didn't, I wish I could say to you that I had a sort of road to Damascus moment where I suddenly saw the light. But the farm was organic. The farm was certified organic. I just didn't know any different. So I gardened. It just didn't occur to me to spray things with chemicals because it wasn't happening around me, and I didn't have any gardening experience. So I just did the same thing. And then that became a real ethos thing. I learned a bit more about it. I went out to look at other people's gardens. I made my own judgments. I did the RHS course when Jack was, So he's 25 now, so he was in a bucket, so he must have been about 1 or 2.
In a bucket.
So I did a bit of learning, and I'm totally addicted now. It takes
feel
up
that from
my
you.
life.
Yeah.
And I love it.
I absolutely love it. It keeps me sane. I have kind of a few jobs in Yeo now, and so I don't spend as much time down here as I'd love to. But I would say it's my kind of life thing. I wouldn't say life's work, that's terribly pretentious, but it's the thing that keeps me
But it's so
moving
inspiring,
forward.
because I think so many listeners will be in a position where they perhaps are curious about gardening but have never really tried it before. It's great to know that a relationship with a garden like this is totally possible for anyone.
Absolutely is possible. And people shouldn't be, it really is a very open family. I haven't yet to meet a grumpy or horrible gardener, and I've met a few.
So true.
Because everybody benefits from being outside or growing something, even if it's just, I know it's a real hackneyed thing to say, but even if it's just on your windowsill, the action of planting something and seeing it wake up and grow is really life-affirming and hopeful and positive, isn't it? So I think we could all do with a bit of that, but I don't like the Latin terms and the correct way to prune it, and is it this, that or the other, and
Rules.
because it's off-putting for people, and actually it's quite simple really, gardening.
Do you think it's more instinctive More
I think it's
There's an element of
definitely for
instinct.
some people it's really extinctive, but also it's really hard to get it all wrong. You know, it's forgiving gardening. Things want to live on the whole.
Well, if
Try
you're doing
telling
it
that to
well,
my
yeah.
flowers.
I was going to say, if you've ever met a grumpy gardener, I must insist that you never join an allotment WhatsApp group.
Oh, okay, I get that. One of my garden team, Dan, has an allotment, and he's having. Unfortunately for him, he broke his leg playing football about 4 or 5 months ago, and as a result, he hasn't been allowed.
That does
been
get in the
quite
way of gardening.
So on top of the allotment, and there's been a little bit of friction.
Chitter. Yeah.
Shall we go into another question
Yeah, why
from the
not?
listeners? So another Sarah has asked, I planted a wildflower meadow. It was okay for 2 years, but this year it's wall-to-wall nettles. Help. What would you say to Sarah?
Wow. Okay, the good.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, sorry, that might have been me.
So where from the... Yeah, just okay. Shall we go into another question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so another Sarah has asked, I planted a wildflower meadow. It was okay for 2 years, but this year is wall-to-wall nettles. Help.
Lucky you.
Oh.
Nettled. Okay, I'll let me answer it with my green hat on first, and then I'll actually answer the question. So nettles are a really good sign. Nettles are a really, really good sign, and they're really good for all our pollinators, and good thing to have. And also, you can make an awesome nettle tea for feeding plants. Just saying.
Yes.
So the good news is that it means you've got really great fertile soil, because nettles are attracted to fertile, rich soil. The bad news is if you want to make a wildflower meadow, that is the absolute opposite to what you need.
Right.
So your problem is your soil's too good, which is a kind of nice problem to have. But wildflowers, by dint of what they are, need shallow, poor soil in order to succeed, because otherwise they get out-competed by a dominant species. So in a lot of cases, that's what's happened when people... So they get a wonderful first year, the nurse crop. The first year, it's absolutely amazing. The second year, it's slightly disappointing, and then nothing.
I think this is my problem, actually, in my
yeah,
front
that
garden.
it's because the soil's too rich, and then your grass or your nettles take over, and there's no chance for those wildflowers to get going at all. It's just wildflowers need poor soil, and also I should say wildflower. I mean, we're sitting here in the greenhouse looking at two
Incredible
kind of
wildflowers.
they're kind of wildflower-ish, but any purist would tell you that that's not a real wildflower meadow. But that is on really, really poor soil, and I sow it every year. So wildflower gardening generally is kind of, it's not low maintenance, to be clear.
Interesting.
In order to get it right, you need to A, decide what your soil type is and what's going to respond to that. B, rectify it if you want to do something that's not. I would always say go with it, because it's much less work.
Yeah, it's less of an uphill battle, right?
But the meadows here at Yeo, we're on heavy clay, which is fantastic for growing grass for our lovely cows, but not so good for wildflowers at all, for those reasons I just said. So we've got meadows that work in heavy clay. So I've used a lot of bulbs, things like Camassia, which love heavy clay and come from sort of swampy ground anyway. So it's sort of slightly knowing what you're wanting to achieve. So if she really wants to do a wildflower meadow in that area, she needs to, I'm afraid, I would say take the blimming topsoil off and use that somewhere else, or find another patch that is nothing like as fertile. She's fighting a losing battle for wildflower.
Good advice.
Sorry, good
Thank
advice,
you.
but not necessarily the right what you want to hear. Anyway.
It's better than my response to her was make nettle soup.
Well, nettle soup, yeah, great.
Delicious.
And make nettle tea for your houseplants or your
Yeah, I was
outdoor
going to come back
plants,
to that. What do you mean?
Teas generally. Just fresh leaves in a bucket, weighted down with a brick or something like that. Leave it somewhere out of the way. And then in a few months' time, we use like a water butt kind of thing. So you've got a tap or a brewer's, anything with a tap on it. Don't fill it with water. A lot of people say fill it with water at that point and then let it stew. That makes ye stink from hell.
I was going to say I did that before and it was right.
Yeah, and it's the same with comfrey and the same with anything that you're making a tea, garlic, anything. If you do it the other way around, so you put the leaves in, you weight them down, you walk away. Then when you come back to it in 3-4 months' time, depending, when you turn the tap, you get a treacle. It's like molasses in it, like. But then dilute it then,
Yeah.
Oh,
rather
okay.
than putting the water in at the beginning, because that way you don't get the
Like
smell.
if you're making a cordial ready
exactly,
drink.
exactly that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh. And then you put that on.
You can water your pot plants,
Yeah.
or veg is good. anything like that.
Is it
And
like a kind of kombucha sort of very good gut for your gut?
I love that.
Plant kombucha.
How many bougie things can we get into these episodes?
I know,
We
it's not
tried
very
to
relatable, is
compare
it? I feel
soil
like-
nodules to quinoa yesterday.
Yeah, I was like, it's a bit overheard. And
No.
I don't even shop at Waitrose.
I think it's great.
Like
Okay,
good,
we've
good
got
for the
one from-
microbes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the next one from Rebecca,
Mhm.
which I think is one that quite a lot of people are going to be interested in. I know
Okay.
Sophie and I are keen to know. What's the best pollinator-friendly ground cover to use instead of grass?
That's really easy. Thank you for that, Rebecca. Clover.
Oh, okay.
Clover. We actually, because we're organic, so we're not treating our grass at all with anything. So we don't have fine lawns at all. And in fact, fine lawns make me a bit twitchy, almost as twitchy as AstroTurf, but not quite.
don't.
Anyway, here we have areas of our lawn, because we don't treat it, that are clover. And that's happened naturally. So clover, two great things about clover. The first is it's super pollinator friendly. Bees love
When
it.
it's in flower.
Yeah, love it. And the second thing is, if we get hot, dry weather, the grass goes brown, but the clover stays green.
Oh.
So actually,
interesting.
when everybody else has got a really parched lawn in the Bronze Garden here at Yeo, because that lawn is mainly clover now, it's like you walk around the corner and you go, whoa, okay, why isn't that? But so I would clover every day. I mean, you can use things like thyme, you can use chamomile, and they're good, chamomile, and they're good. But I would say in terms of pollinator friendly, clover.
Yeah, nice. And it's a really good nitrogen fixer, isn't it?
Really, really good nitrogen fixer. And you know, you can introduce it and it will get to grip with it and it'll just go. So it's quite economic as well.
When we were with Will on the farm yesterday, he was showing us clover and he got us to put our hands at the base of the grass and just to feel the moisture and the warmth and the microclimate that it helps create. And
it's amazing. And we use it anyway as a kind of green manure in the veg patch. So like where our brassica cage is at the moment, there's a carpet of clover underneath it. There's a few plants that are bomb proof for me. Clover is one of those that I just think.
So if Rebecca was to sow clover, how would she go about doing that?
You buy the seed. I mean, we use white clover a lot here, but you can get red clover as well. I would scratch up the existing lawn, maybe make a few patches, just scratch it up, sow the seed into that and scratch it up so the seed's got something to purchase into and leave it be.
Yeah.
No more than
Do
that.
its thing.
And then once it's in, it'll do its thing for you. Yeah.
Do you think clover's quite overlooked as a plant for just an ordinary gardener?
I think it's got a reputation. Well, it is, isn't it? It's used a lot in farming and agriculture. So I think from that point of view, it just needs a bit of rebranding, I guess.
Get it into gardens.
It's, like at the moment, Phacelia is having a huge thing because we've got Phacelia in those beds there. We use that a lot. And that, again, is a green manure. And technically, you shouldn't really let it flower if we're being really purist, because you want to be digging it into the soil or leaving it on the top of the soil before it flowers, because then you've got maximum energy going into the root and it's not spending energy on its flowering. But the flower is so great.
It's great.
And the pollinators are all over it, and it's electric blue. That actually, it's creeping into gardens more and more. I think lots of people are using it.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think whether I saw it at Chelsea this year. I might even have seen it at Chelsea this year.
Oh.
So come on, clover, bringing up the next crop.
That's
I
another
So
t-shirt,
can you
isn't
bring clover to Chelsea? Is that the next?
Why not?
Is that the yeah.
My garden I would like to present is clover.
It's just a clover lawn, and it's
That's
lovely.
really good.
Great answer, thank you.
Do you want to go? Should we? Because we've both got a stack of questions now. Should we just alternate between?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you want to go? Or should I?
You go.
We couldn't resist putting in a few of our own questions here as well. And once we got started, that list just started growing. One for me, as our climate's changing, I mean, we've talked a lot about climate change while we've been on the farm for the last couple of days, but we're seeing, a lot less reliability in our seasons. Like this year was one of the warmest, driest, sunniest springs we've had on record. Like, how should we be adapting as home growers or home gardeners? Like, how should we be future-proofing our plans for wanting to have beautiful, abundant, pollinator-friendly gardens or growing kind of lovely, sustainable, nutrient-rich food at home?
It's a really good question, and it's a question that lots and lots of people are juggling with at the moment. The answer is nobody quite knows, if I'm really honest. And we do have to, I think we have to be adaptable and we have to roll with the punches. So this year is completely different from last year already. So you're right, we had a really, really dry spring. So I've never seen crab blossom like it. Never seen anything like that. Roses are now taking over, but everything went whoosh and then was over really quickly. The one thing that I'm, for me, using as my priority, if you like, going forward, and how do we build resilience is, and I know I sound like a blimmin' stuck record, but it is about soil health. There's a real trend at the moment for planting in substrate and planting in rubble and planting in sand, and I think that's really, really interesting. I've not got any issue with that, but I think you have to rely on your soil. The soil is the really magic ingredient, and it's really underlooked, to your point about what's coming in. The soil here at Yeo is our absolute 100% priority, because we're not able to, and we don't want to, but we're not giving these plants out there any intervention. Once they're in the ground, it's up to them. So you've got to make sure that the ground is really good, that it's nutrient, that it's got really good, it's durable, that you're mulching it, that it's got heart. It's like anything.
Like a living being.
Yeah. If you've got a plant that you put it in its soil and it can get its roots down because the structure is right and there are nutrients in it, you are far more likely to build resilience within the garden, whatever the weather throws at it. I think that's your safety net, the soil. And I think the soil, because we all think soil dirt, don't we? Dirt is, we need to rebrand dirt, really. Soil is absolutely the key. If you get your soil right and take some time to get it right, and compost and all those lovely things that gardeners do. You know, we did an experiment years ago. We had some herbaceous. We wanted to plant a herbaceous border. We bought some herbaceous stuff from a conventional nursery, and we raised some ourselves. And sure enough, when you had those plants side by side, the ones that came from the nursery looked a hell of a lot better for my money. You know, if I was going out with my $5.99 to buy whatever, they looked healthy and bushy and really robust, and ours didn't. Ours were a bit thinner and a bit. You put them in the garden, and the complete change, because the things that have been nurtured, they've been under glass, they've been under canvas, they've been given fertilizer, they've probably been sprayed with some sort of pesticide. They took one look at the garden and kind of went, sorry, I don't really know what to do with this. Sorry, I'm out of my pot now, out of my pot zone. Don't know how to behave. Whether it's the ones that we'd raised organically, that's what they knew, you know? It's kind of, it's common sense really, isn't it? You know, if you over-nurture and you over-solve people's problems for them, then they build no resilience once they get out in the real world. So we had to do a real job of work around whether it's a vegetable plant or it's an ornamental. It goes out into that garden equipped for life in an organic garden. And part of that is making sure that their soil is absolutely right. Ready for them. So that they're not, it's not, those plants all aren't looking up for us, for water, for food, for help in, you know, cure. They're able to do the job themselves.
Very good answer.
So, you know, that's how I feel about it. I don't know that we can predict
everything
the
goes
weather
back
yet.
to soil.
I think that's almost a better answer as well, because instead of, you know, trying to make bets about which species are going to do well or not well, the one thing you can do is shore up your substrate. I think that's a much more useful response, actually, in some ways. So I'm not going to be trying to.
Everybody can do that. You know, compost is free
and fun.
She's waving her hands. She's excited. I wanted to ask you about the importance of gardening through the seasons, because I think a lot of people assume that it's all about spring and summer, and then autumn and winter they can kind of just let the garden kind of not decay but kind of rest and have a bit of a pause. What would you say to that?
Well, if you're asking, so people quite often when they come to visit ask me when's my favourite time of year in the garden, and the answer is, it's like asking who's your favourite kid. It's like I always say the bit we're in. I love spring because of the hopefulness, and you know, you come out of a really dark time and suddenly something pokes its head through and you think, oh, I love this. But the garden here is designed for a late season garden, so it's still, normally we're open until the end of October every year, which gives you some idea.
Cool.
This year slightly different because of the festival, so we're closing a little bit earlier just because I think we'll all be absolutely exhausted after the festival. But I think if you plant for late season, then you end up with an all-round garden anyway. It's obviously super, super important for wildlife, pollinators, all that sort of thing. Birds, particularly, that you garden for. For me, autumn is, if you put a gun against my head, I'd say autumn's my favourite season here.
Really?
Because it's so blimming romantic. I always say it's as though the gardens had been to the best ever rave, party, whatever, and it's the morning after. That's how it feels out there. Everything is just, there's lots going on the flowering scale, because I've got a lot of late season colour and flowers, but the whole thing's got this kind of romantic sort of Miss Havisham-y cloak over it.
On a misty morning.
Yeah, it's
in
just
the valley.
great.
Yeah.
And that time of year is all about, the wildlife is going crazy for the seed heads. Don't tidy your garden in the autumn. Leave everything. Give yourself a break. And do it in the spring. That's the time to be cutting things back. Leave also, apart from anything else, if you get some nice cold weather and some frosty weather, those seed heads look extraordinary. They're sculptural if they're left, and it's an added dimension to your garden. It looks great. So I would say gardening should be all year round. Obviously, I'm also going to say there is definitely a moment when you need a hot chocolate and some catalogues.
Absolutely.
That's really critical for the
It's a bit hot in the
planning.
in this glass house for that. Thought now, but
An iced coffee would, but
iced coffee
the
and
catalogues,
catalogue, yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Bit of
there's time for
seed
that.
sorting. I like the bit in like winter, kind of post Christmas, where everybody is really hankering for like the next season of sowing, and you start to flick through your seed packets, and you can start to imagine what's going to happen this year. And each of those little brown packets of things you've saved from before like represents something exciting.
Yeah,
and that's when it like really ticks over for me.
Life,
like,
isn't it?
ready
Yeah.
to go again.
Yeah, that's really
You're
cool.
getting dressed for the rave, I think, at that period of time.
Oh, yeah, we're going to
Trying
play
to
with
pick
that
your
metaphor.
outfit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
You mentioned the garden festival there.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to do a cheeky plug? Tell us all
I want
about
to
it.
do a really cheeky plug. Thank you. So 2 years ago, Tim and I were at Groundswell. We all know about that. And
Could you explain briefly what it might be for some listeners who
don't know
what it is?
So Groundswell is a really cool event that happens in Hertfordshire, and beginning of July every year. I think it's probably been going, do you think 5 years now? Not quite sure, to be
I don't know,
honest.
it's my first
Quite
year
new.
this year. I'm very excited for it.
But it's basically a festival of regeneration and organic farming, and I love it. We are there, normally heavily involved in the dairy tent. There are normally talks. Again, I don't know why I keep going back to this, but there seems to be a party element. I don't know why. Anyway,
I think it
It's a
follows
good
you
festival.
around. I think
Yeah.
you bring the party
Yeah.
element.
But anyway, it's a really great event, and it's the thing I like about it is that it's really authentic, and that's the feeling when you go, that it's farmers talking to farmers, and it's not a kind of echo chamber. There's proper debate. I mean, there really is. I've witnessed it. But the energy is really positive. It's all about trying to work out the best way forward. It's people getting stuck in, and there's a real feeling of optimism and joy and moving on. So we went I didn't go last year, which apparently was the ultimate party. But the year before I did go, and as we were in the car coming back here, I just said to Tim, it's a real shame there's not a gardening thing like that, because there are loads of really nice gardening shows. I love a lovely gardening show, and there are loads of symposiums and this, that and the others that are really kind of more targeted towards garden designers than actual gardeners. And then there's nothing out there that talks to gardeners about the future of gardening and how fantastic an opportunity gardeners have to make a real difference. We're a nation of blooming gardeners, for God's sake. We should be all over it. We're really good at gardening, we're really good at fashion, and we're really good at pop music. Come on.
Put those three together.
And as much as I'm married into a farming family, and the farming and the agricultural side of things is going on apace, I feel like we're missing a trick, because all of us gardeners could get together and just do the tiniest thing, and it would make a difference. And I just feel the power behind that, and the positivity is great. So I wanted to do something, and now we're doing the Yeo Valley Organic Garden Festival.
The very first.
The very first, slightly nerve-wracking. But anyway, from the 18th to the 20th of September this year. And I reached out to my kind of hero collection of people that I wanted to come and talk. 3 days, 3 themes. Proper talks, 2 big venues for talks, and then proper debates afterwards, all kind of with somebody chairing. But I reached out to all these people expecting to get at least 50% of them going, sorry, not bothered. Sorry, can't do it. Sorry, I'm away. Sorry, not enough money, all that stuff. And everybody, absolutely everybody, with the exception of one person who was on their holidays, said yes. So that made me feel like I'm onto something. And now we've got Arit Anderson, we've got Alice Fowler, we've got Tom Massey, we've got John Little, we've got Charles Dowding. We have got Francis Tophill, who have I left out? Did I say Alice Fowler? Yeah. We have got, and a certain Sophie, just saying. We have got a complete hero list of people coming. We've got some really exciting talks. We've got some great demonstrations how to keep your tool sharp. I mean, I know that's really basic. But how many people out there have actually been taught how to keep their tools absolutely... So all that bit of practical stuff, obviously a lot of compost stuff, some really nice food, probably a couple of beers, bit of dancing. We're having a mushroom rave. I know. And just hopefully really inspiring, and hopefully I just want everyone to feel included. Yeah, you need to take the week off. And Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so we're hoping to attract everybody, from people that are just even thinking about it, to people that have been at it for like their whole lives and maybe want to just change a few things. But I'm not going to, it's not about beating people over the head with a guilty stick, because that is totally counterproductive and a very unattractive way to behave. It's about saying, this is an option, this is an option. Think about it, this is what we think.
It's a food for thought.
Yeah, and take it away if you want to. So I'm very excited, as you can tell. I will be in a state of nervous paralysis before the actual event, but...
it just means you care about it, though.
Yeah. I do really care about it. I do really care about it. And I also really believe it's true. I really believe this is one thing in a world where it all feels a little bit kind of hell in a handcart, that this is one thing that we could all actually do with really minimal expense or disruption, really. So why not?
So how can we find out more if listeners are like, take me there?
Thanks for that. So she's good at this, you need to go to the Yeo Valley Organic Garden Festival website. Cool. And tickets are on sale, and you can get a 3-day. I've tried to keep the ticket pricing really reasonable for all those reasons I just said. It's not elitist and it's not posh. That's what it's not.
Yeah.
It's for everyone. So come on, get your tickets.
We'll be there.
Just sounds amazing.
I hope so.
Okay, cool. So a couple more questions from us, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Sorry, I knocked the table. That was me.
Okay. A couple more questions from us, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So when people think about gardening, often they might be people like me who don't really have that much space, but want to try and do something. When you start researching things and space-saving measures, I've come across and I've seen examples of things like living walls and living roofs. What are your thoughts about those?
My thoughts are great if you've got time.
Okay.
So I think roofs are probably easier than walls. And I've seen really great ideas like bike shed or over the top of your bins where you've just got a small roof. I think that's genius. Go for it. And it slightly depends on you researching your material. So actually, John Little, who's coming to the festival, will be great for that, because he talks about rubbly and very shallow substrate planting.
Okay.
So roofs are easier because you're capitalising on natural rainfall.
Right. Sure.
Walls, by dint of the fact that they're horizontal, no, they're not, they're vertical.
Neither of us noticed either.
Yeah.
No, I was just like, yes.
And I just should say that, also we are talking about living, aren't we? Not plastic.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
I know, but you'd be amazed when you look them up how many there
there
are.
are.
So in order to keep a living wall living, that is quite a lot of maintenance.
I guess it's an irrigation issue.
It is an irrigation issue, and sometimes a height issue as well. So I think you just need to go into it with your eyes open and willing to put in the time, or the expense of an irrigation system or something, because what you don't want to do is have your lovely wall all set up. It all looks absolutely bloody marvellous for 3 weeks, and then you start getting patches dying out. It's not a good look, is it? So I would say entry-level, go roof, not wall.
Okay.
That would be mine.
Good. Nice. Thank you.
I like it. I was wondering about, I think, there's been a couple of really big campaigns across kind of gardening of recent years, neonicotinoid pesticides.
Yep.
They've been in the headlines a lot, rightly so. They do a lot of damage to our insects. Peat-free compost is another one, which is something that's made it from sort of headlines into public, consciousness.
Yes.
We know that we need peat in the ground.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, either what do you think the next big like public campaign or moment will be? Or if you ruled the world, what should it be?
Ooh.
Good question.
Good question.
Thank
Well
you.
done, you.
Good question. Okay, so I'm going to say water saving.
She's talking my language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, because it's so easy to do it.
Yeah.
We don't think about it until we're like, oh, I actually have that.
Where's it gone?
It's too hot. What am I going to? So we are obsessed with water butts and dipping tanks.
Nice.
So I
What's
would.
a dipping tank?
A dipping tank is a tank which is big enough for you to get your watering can in and submerged without easy peasy.
Yeah.
Because, for example, when you've got a lot of watering, we've got a lot of watering to do, to be fair. But even if you haven't, it's actually much easier than filling a can and standing there sort of waiting for it to fill up from a tap.
Yeah, just plunge it straight
Just
in.
dipping it straight in,
Nice.
whatever. We've got lots of those around the garden. We've made a real effort to capture as much rainwater as
Lots of
possible.
receptacles. Yes.
Lots, and it doesn't matter what they look like, they're just doing a job, aren't they? But you're much more likely to water something if the water is there. If you that sounds a bit nappy, you know what I mean?
No,
if
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just sat there. So, and I think water saving is going to, because if we carry on getting these very dry springs, and then sometime, luckily we have had a decent rain now, but at one point, only a month ago, we were thinking, is the grass going to grow? The cows, and
Yeah.
the same in the garden. So seeing water as a precious commodity rather than something you just leave the tap on when you're cleaning your teeth, or you just don't really think, we're all the same. Just changing your mindset around that being precious, I think would be really, really good. And I'm going to put a plea in for the humble shrub,
Okay.
because shrubs have been out of fashion, and all these things come round, don't they? I remember a time when dahlias were considered very naff, but oh my goodness me, if you haven't got a dahlia now,
Back
you're
these
not.
days.
Oh, yeah. So shrubs have really been not in the headlines at all, and I think there's a lot to be said for a good shrub. It's a great place for
Right.
birds to nest.
Yeah.
There are lots of different varieties. They all flower at different
Ground
times,
cover,
and
yeah.
they're all that, and on the whole, low maintenance.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
We'll go by
So
shrub.
more shrubs,
shrub.
more water butts. I can
Yes.
firmly get behind both of those. I actually told my friend who lives in London the other day what a water butt even was.
right.
And I made a joke about mine, and she was like, "Haha,
Say again."
what's a water butt?" And I was like, "You know what a water butt is." She's like, "I on it what?"
But
And I
There's
showed
a
her a
whole new-
picture, and she was
That
like,
is genius, Emma. That is genius. There's a whole campaign around water butts that look
Yeah.
like butts. You know how you get all those
Now,
What, for
vases?
real?
Yeah,
For
you know
real?
you can get those vases that look like bottoms.
Yeah.
You know the ones?
Yeah.
You should a water
Actual
butt
water
that
butt.
looks like a butt.
There we go.
two cheeks.
Yeah.
We
Amazing.
could work with
We could do
that.
it, we could
I
do
think
it.
that's actually a really good idea. Yeah.
Okay, we are going to do some quick fire questions. So
Okay.
The first thing that comes to mind. Right. We'll start off easy. Sarah, if you were a plant, what would you be and why?
Why do you think that's easy?
Yeah, hard. Sorry.
I would be an Eremurus.
Tell me more.
Foxtail lily. There's some out there. They're quite tricky to get going.
Okay.
Yeah, got it. But once they're going, they're absolutely the most amazing,
Can't stop
flamboyant, and wonderful firework of a plant.
Great answer. I
Love
love that. Jinx.
Right. If you were to give every child in school at home to grow a plant, a vegetable, flower, whatever, that would foster their love of growing, what would you give them?
A pea.
And how about an
Sweet.
adult?
A pea.
Great.
Why?
Because they're successful, it's hard to fail with a pea. And also, the teaches you the whole thing. Root down first, then comes the shoot. Up it goes, and you can eat the produce. That's a real learn. Most kids like peas.
Yeah. Or even
Grow
the shoots
something
as
that
well.
you like. Grow
Yeah.
something successful. Grow something simple that's very unlikely to fail.
Okay.
Love it. What is your favourite odd variety that you grow? Something that you might not find in a supermarket, or seeds that are not that easy to get hold of, perhaps like the underdog, slightly ugly duckling of the things that you grow. What's your
Okay.
favourite?
Loofah. Loofah, amazing. Last year we had a loofah tunnel.
Oh.
You can get loofah seeds from She Grows Veg, from Chilton's, and from Vital, I think. They're basically loofahs like you think the thing you scratch your back with, exactly the same. It's basically a gourd. It's actually, you can eat it a bit like a courgette, but you wouldn't. You'd wait till it grows full size, and then you would harvest it, peel it, dry it, and give it to your friends for Christmas. Slice it up and give it to your friends for Christmas. Blimming marvellous, and they look amazing, and everybody goes, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Which for me
they
is
look a bit like a sea sponge, or
they do
a
exactly,
coral or something.
they're great, and you can dip them in soap and give them. I mean, there's all sorts you can
That's
do.
a good idea.
What a great
Do
idea.
you need like a polytunnel or a greenhouse for that? 'Cause I tried to do that one year
Did you?
and
Okay.
did not have any success.
Germination can be a bit tricky. They need to be a bit nurtured. I'm actually just about to plant some, a bit late, but for the festival. And I shall plant them, and then actually at this time of year, I probably keep them in a cold frame, so they're getting some weather. Wait for them to germinate, and then they kind of should be, once they're up and out, they should be okay.
So I've not missed the boat this year if I plant some this weekend.
No, go for it.
Get some
Absolutely.
loofah in.
Listeners, stick around to find out what happens to my loofahs. You produce lots of soups and other things.
We do.
You're very well known for your yogurts, obviously, but you do celebrate the veg too.
Yeah.
We were thinking recipes, best comfort food with using things that you've grown in the garden. What's your go-to?
Tomato soup.
I love tomato soup.
I think that's a childhood thing, isn't it? I think
We're
that's
right
what
next to the tomatoes
right
as
next to
well.
tomatoes. And I think people get tomato soup when they're ill because it's easy to digest. So for me, that is the real kind of winter, nice big piece of
Hunk of
crusty
bread,
with
salty
some butter on it.
Yeah.
Dunky, bit of creme fraiche in the top, double bubble. Yeah, why not with a soup?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
On one of those autumn days, we've been in the garden all
Yes.
day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've had your hot chocolate, your catalogues, tomato
Yeah.
soup.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Simple
very
too.
nice. Well, we'll do one more quickfire question, I think. Sarah, if you could send one message to the public or decision makers, I have a feeling we've already kind of covered some brilliant messages here. What would it be? If you had a megaphone, what would you say?
Don't sweat, give it a go.
Nice.
I thought it was going to be
Love that.
water butts for all, but that's good too.
Water butts for all. I think we need a T-shirt, Millie.
I think we've
think
come
we
up with
do.
so many T-shirt slogans for you, actually,
We
the
definitely
last
need a
24
water
hours.
butts for all T-shirts.
We need to write
We
these
should do
down.
a collaborative T-shirt
Yeah.
collection, I think.
Yeah, it's not the cow, it's how.
Yeah,
got
that
this
was a
one.
good one.
Soil, not oil.
I like
Some
that.
more. Yeah.
I'd wear that daily.
Sarah, thank you so much for coming on For What It's Earth. It's been such a joy to have you. And
Thank you very much for
speak
having me. I've
gardening.
enjoyed every second of it.
Oh, it's
We've
good.
absolutely loved it. Thank you, listeners, for listening to this episode of For What It's Earth. If it's not abundantly clear, this one was produced in partnership with support from our wonderful friends at Yeo Valley Organic.
A big thank you to Sarah, of course, and the rest of the team, and the gardening team especially, who have hosted us here today. We have simply had the best time, and make sure you head over to the Yeo Valley Garden Festival website, have a look at tickets, put it in your diary, and hopefully we'll see you all there.
Keep an eye out this series as well for more wonderful, exciting episodes coming direct from the garden and the farm. And for more from us, to see some behind the scenes and maybe even take a peek at the glasshouse that we're recording in today, head over to our Instagram at For What It's Earth Podcast.
And to make sure that you get episodes immediately as they're out, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, and it just really helps us reach new listeners who might be interested in being a bit more climate curious and environmentally friendly.
You can also be part of an upcoming episode yourself by sending us your own listener questions.
You can send us an email at forwhatitsearthpod@gmail.com, or send us a direct message on Instagram with your questions. And why don't you make them voice notes? We love hearing from you, and we love hearing your voice and sharing the episodes and our For What It's Earth bubble with you.
We do. All of the links you need are in the episode description. We'll see you very soon.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was an absolute joy. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Get those doors.